It's pretty late right now, and I am very drowsy. So I thought I would do a drowsy, rambling thing again to put you to sleep. I went for a really long run today, so my whole body is just wiped out. I'm extra drowsy. So I thought I would kind of ramble a little bit about kinks and this one kind of video video type that I really want to make, and don't know if I have the equipment for it yet, but I just want to tell you about what I'm obsessed with. So first I want to just kind of talk about the kinks a little bit. So you may have noticed that I kind of hop around different kinks. But I wanted to say why I do that. Because I have a lot of experience, and I like a lot of things. I have a lot of kinks that I'm into, and I also I like trying things I haven't tried before, and kind of exploring things a little bit. Like it kind of triggers the curious side of my brain. It kind of excites me to try something new and see if there's something in there that really does it for me, because I've discovered all kinds of weird little quirks that I find super hot, just sort of exploring like that. But I want to mention, I'm going to talk about it briefly, because I know that the sort of conventional wisdom for any sort of content creation is that you find a niche and you kind of stick to it. But I have this kind of this rule for myself that I've had forever when it comes to sexual things. And this rule is that I will always do whatever it takes to avoid becoming desensitized, because it's very, very possible, very easy to do. Sort of like the vibrator thing, the vibrator feels amazing, but if you hold it in one place for too long, it starts to kind of become numbing. Well, I feel about sex more generally that do whatever it takes to avoid sort of losing the excitement and avoid that feeling when it starts to become mechanical, because to me that's the worst thing in the world. I would rather be celibate forever than be kind of trapped in a sexual experience where it feels mechanical and kind of detached. It's so important to me that I feel it. So for me, one way to sort of preserve that for me is by moving across kinks a little bit. Like there are certain kinks, well, everything, you can just know that anything that I put up here or anywhere, any audio I do that is sexual is absolutely something that I love. So that's sort of like a given. But even if there's something that I love, if I do it in repetition over and over and over again, it'll start to lose its excitement for me, like that sort of spark. And so to keep that, I do move across different kinks to kind of play to different parts of my libido and my brain and my body and all of that. So I guess I wanted to mention that, so that you know that if I've done something that you like and I haven't done it for a while, I will almost certainly go back to do that particular thing again. And I guess similarly, there is pretty much a given that at some point I'm going to put up role play that is so not your thing, and that's totally fine. Just ignore it. I mean, it'll be my thing, but you know, I know that sort of the spectrum of things that I enjoy absolutely would not appeal to everybody. So I'm going to try to organize them into playlists. I'm kind of trying to, it's hard to organize like kinks into categories, but I, you know, I've set up one for self-domination, so that's like the good boy stuff, like where I kind of take care of you and also kind of push you down to lick my pussy. Like that's self-domination. Feet have their own sort of category. That feels weird because I'm putting it in its own category because I know that people who are into feet kind of just want to be able to get straight to that kind of content, but you should know that I'm going to be working across different like power dynamics for that. So some of it is, you know, going to be like girlfriend, some of it's going to be slightly dom and all of that, but I put feet in its own category, and I'll probably have a playlist that is for like harder domination. I don't do like hardcore like psycho bitch beat the crap out of you type domination. It's just not my thing. But I do like you know, like blackmail and coercion. You know, like situations where you might lose a bet. I actually just recorded, you know, a morally questionable but kink appropriate scenario where I am your professor, and I'm kind of pissed off at you for plagiarizing, and so I give you a choice between me reporting your plagiarism or you finding a way to work it off, and involves some forced sort of foot play and like pussy eating, that sort of thing. And so I do that. So I'll probably, if I start putting those up here, I'll create a playlist for that too, because like the dynamic for like harder domination, you know, domination where there's force involved, it's a very different kind of power dynamic. So I'll put those in a different playlist. And then for, I don't know, like, I don't know if I even call these kinks, but I would say kinks that fall outside of sort of BDSM type mindfucks. Then I kind of enjoy kind of a broad spectrum of scenarios that are a little bit wrong, and like kind of girlfriend stuff, and different sort of sexual dynamics there. I'm not really sure how to group those, but I'll probably kind of try to group them in terms of like kind of experience that you would have listening to them. It's just a really vague thing for me to say. Anyway, so I just wanted to kind of mention that I'm going to be kind of moving around a bit with the kinks. And, and then I'm also going to be doing, I guess this sort of gets to the other thing I want to talk about. I'm also going to be trying some stuff. And I absolutely do not know if this will be good or if this will work for anybody. It makes sense in my mind. I don't know how well it would translate to reality. But also some of this was inspired by a conversation I've had with somebody who's really interesting. So essentially, okay, when I first experienced ASMR, when I first experienced that tingling sensation, my first thought was, well, first it was like, I want to do that. I want to have that effect on somebody. But apart from that, my first thought was how much I wanted to combine it with elements of like erotic hypnosis or certain kind of like lulling sensual scenarios. So a kind of, God, it's so hard to describe. I wanted then and want now essentially to create some kind of audio that you can listen to when you're trying to fall asleep. Which, by the way, this is like an ongoing fixation of mine, of audio that you listen to as you go to sleep and what you can kind of do with that. But for this specifically, audio that you listen to as you go to sleep. But that is, it takes advantage of the fact that when you're drowsy, you're less inhibited, typically, unless you're really wound up. And then here you have like ASMR that can kind of trigger this sort of tingling sensation, particularly if you use certain triggers, sound triggers, and combine that with something like erotic hypnosis, in which through sort of repetition and through language, you can be lulled into kind of a deeper relaxation, but also a form of submission, sort of yielding to something. And so I've always wanted to create this kind of audio that would have a slight power dynamic to it, and that you would be kind of relaxing and giving into it, but trip certain ASMR triggers. So give you sort of that like tingling sensation, but also trip some psychological triggers. If you are oriented in this way, if you're oriented towards submission in any way, and that would kind of lull you into kind of like a slightly deeper sort of feeling of submission. And in a way that would also, I would hope, be somewhat arousing. I am obsessed with this idea. I have been obsessed with this idea since forever. And this week, I tried to do it. Oh my God. It was so frustrating. I'll tell you the concept I was working with. I'm a little heartbroken talking about it right now because I really thought I got it. I really thought I nailed it. But the audio file just wasn't good enough. Like the sound quality wasn't good enough. But this is the concept that I've been kind of playing with. So it's oriented around a succubus. I've always liked night demons, or just in general. And I like, I don't know if this qualifies as a kink, but I like sort of sleep-oriented, like, eroticism and kinks, and like for example, like if I'm in sort of like a soft mood, I fully love like the idea of like waking up my sweet good boy and just like making him come, sending him back to sleep. Like, I love that. But for this idea, what I was trying to do was create a kind of role play where, if you're like listening to it, you're lying in bed and I am like the succubus who has appeared at night, in your bed, like lying on top of you, and I'm just like whispering in your ear and stroking your hair and just telling you to, just relax and don't resist, just give in, and being kind of like coaxing you into a kind of arousal to make you compliant, and just moving from ear to ear, the whispers, and kind of using sort of soft stroking triggers and alternating, and I feel like it's very important. It would have to be a three-dimensional sensation for this. And so kind of coaxing you and lulling you into being very, very compliant so that I can go down your body. And for this, I was imagining oral. So then kind of like going down your body to like suck your dick a little bit. And you being more or less sort of unable to move, and you know that I am a succubus and I am going to drain your virility from you, and I am going to sort of milk you until I'm satisfied. And so I was picturing like going down on you a little bit, and then climbing on top of you and riding you, and you being in a state where you just simply cannot resist. You just have to let it happen because I'm a succubus. And at this point, ideally, you've been sort of lulled into hypnotic and very receptive or amenable state. So, and then the end bit would just be sort of the sound of me breathing as I do some succubus stuff on you. So that's what I was trying to do. I thought I nailed it. Oh my god, I worked so hard on it. I thought I nailed it. And then I went to listen to the audio, and I ran into this problem where there was just enough like white noise that normally I can get rid of. But in this case, because it was all like very close whispering rather than soft-spoken, like it's very, very whispery. And so it wouldn't interfere with the ASMR triggers, and I couldn't get that sound to go away without distorting the whispers. It's really upsetting. And I have a feeling that I'm going to need a better mic to do this properly. I think I need an actual like binaural microphone. Like right now, I'm just working with stereo. If I'm going to want to go ear to ear, I can do it through stereo, but that's not the same as a three-dimensional like sound, like a fully three-dimensional sound, which I feel is really important. So that's my dream, is to be able to record like sort of like a siren song, sort of femme fatale, very seductive and coaxing, soft audio as you go to sleep. That would feel like you were kind of sinking into obedient acceptance in an erotic way or something. One day, I think I know what microphone I need for that, and I think it'll be a little bit of time before I can afford that. But since I couldn't upload that audio, I figured the next best thing is just telling you about it. Hypothetical audio that won't see the light of day. I'm so heartbroken over it. I really wanted to hypnotize you into obedience. But I don't know, one day. Pretty tired now. I don't know, now that my mind's on it, I'm like fixating on it. Just, I could find that scenario so hot and delightful. Like there's I don't know, like it's hard to describe sort of the feelings that I have with domination, because I am very soft, and you know, and let them play like a full-on game, like a blackmail game or something. But there is something that, you know, I've always felt like since forever. There's something just so incredibly wonderful when somebody yields, you know. And like I have this memory. God, did I already talk about that? I don't even know if I've talked about this or not, or if I talked about it and then decided not to upload it. But I'll say it anyway. Like I have this memory. I have a few memories along these lines where I was like wrestling a guy, like a friend, and pinned him down, and I weigh nothing. I'm not physically threatening. I am a small, like maybe I shouldn't say this because I don't want to, if you've been picturing me as like an Amazon, I don't want to interfere with that, but I'm not an Amazon. I'm like very, very slight. And I used to remember, I think, these moments where we were just like fooling around, and I pinned him down, and knowing, and this guy was like 4 times my size probably, knowing that there's no way that I was physically pinning him down, that he was letting me pin him down, and that realization, and when I kind of saw it in his eyes, was like, just like a electric jolt straight to my clit. Just this thought of like this guy letting me hold him down. I think that's why I lean towards self-domination, because it is a form of domination that requires you to give in, rather than me taking by force, which is a very, very, very valid form of domination. I have mad respect for doms who can, for like real ice queens, or like real, like sadistic, like hardcore. This shit takes skill, man. But the thing that like kind of gives me butterflies is that acquiescence, and knowing that they could push back, but they won't. They can't. It's really fucking hot. Okay, I should probably stop, because I'm sorry. I was gonna I should have had a story or something to tell you, because I didn't really just rambled this time. I'll have a story to tell you next time. I'm just fixated on this succubus audio. I wish I could have recorded and uploaded for you. Anyway, I hope you're having a really good night. I hope you're asleep by now. I hope that in the future I'll have some sort of vaguely erotic sleep audio to kind of fuck with you when you're in between consciousness and dreams. And yeah, I guess I'll stop there. You have a wonderful night.